The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Good morning and welcome to another 2v2 game. We have today the Axis team of myself, Magpie842, and my ally, once again, Rat Punter, who has once again opted for the early choice of mechanized assault doctrine. Representing the allies, we have playing as America, BoeRu, and his friend, or perhaps randomly match-made partner, Fish Taco. Who I imagine I'll just shorten to Fish. Some politeness here, both teams were saying GLHF, you two buddy, so everybody getting on well as this game begins. This map was actually the first time I've played this map. I'm pretty fresh to the matchmaking pool, so it's kind of a nighttime winter map, quite thematic. So as both teams fan out, I'll just spend a minute or two here just to talk to you guys, just about a couple of things on my mind. First of all, thanks to anybody who's been watching the casts, it means a lot to me. I've only been casting now 3 or 4 days, so it's all quite new to me and I'm kind of learning a lot as I go along. To that end, it would be really useful if you have any feedback, any tips that you think that I would find useful, or if you think I've forgotten anything, just anything at all really, that would be really useful because, I don't know, I don't really have a mentor, I haven't really been looking at the internet or anything to get tips and advice, which I probably should do, but I just haven't. So I'm kind of picking up casting as I go, and yeah, it would be good to have some feedback if you have any tips or suggestions. I do know that I got a lot of things wrong in my previous casts, but that's basically just because I'm still dealing with the sort of mass information glut of trying to cast and watch the game and not miss anything. So I was calling left flanks, right flanks, and just basically misannouncing a lot of stuff. And hopefully that'll improve as I go on and get more used to doing it. So, as we turn our attention back to the game, an early skirmish in the bottom of the map here, leading to Punter falling back one of his squads. The allies taking the victory point and settling into the bottom half of the map. Some sandbags constructed here in a position which is kind of decent. I'm not sure I wouldn't rather see them here or something, maybe here, or even just here. So you could still fit a vehicle through, but you could put an MG a little bit further forward and sort of command this area. Punter's forces here content to sit back behind this MG42 with an assault grenadier squad to command the flank here. And in the north of the map, I've managed to secure both victory points because the Allied forces, there wasn't really any units sent to this half of the map, so I'm able to occupy the best positions, grab all of the points. I've managed to deploy my medical field HQ. I say managed, like it was difficult. Just up here. It's quite defensively put, but I'm finding that the Allied players are getting more and more savvy, probably as we get match made against better and better opponents, at just picking my trucks off. And once you lose a truck with the overcommand, things go from, things get bad really fast. Especially that first truck. You can lose your second or third one, maybe even a couple of times, and things are just bad. If you lose that first truck, that's like 3 minutes where you're stuck on Tech 1, usually. So it's just really not where you want to be. If we look at the victory points, we're now holding two victory points to 1, so the score's beginning to tick our way slowly. As Punter's forces still represented only by this assault grenadier and an MG42 squad there, so I'm hoping he's going to send some more squads to the front. There's a flanking squad of assault grenadiers getting pinned down by a well-positioned Maxim with sandbags and conscripts, as his northern grenadiers trudging their way through snow. And finding it hard to break. Actually, you've got to, if these conscripts here were to run down here behind this fence and up here, whilst this Maxim also came with them and, I don't know, maybe deployed here facing north, then these riflemen, who are just being plinked at by the MG42 at range, they're so cheeky, these riflemen could then push the front if they fan out like 1, 2, 3, push this front, and that MG would be completely overrun. These grenadiers wouldn't make any difference in the face of that many troops. And that way the Allies could push pretty much right up to this river and make it hell on earth for Punter to retake that section of the map. To the north I've got this building here, provides a good line of sight across the killing zone of this river. Got one force, just more or less a recon force. I know if they send like more than one squad over this bridge I'll have to fall back, but I want to know if they do it. So these Volks Grenadiers are just keeping an eye on the bridge. And a Kuba wagon coming to the front and building my third Volks squad. in the meantime. So let's take a look at the production for Punter. Punter is beginning to spice his builds up. He used to rely just on the call-ins from his commander, the Mechanized Assault Doctrine. So he used to rely on Assault Grenadiers, and then he would support that with Pioneers and MG42s without building a tech building for a good portion of the game. But he's really begun to appreciate the versatility provided by Grenadier squads, who bring a bit of ranged fire, the very powerful and versatile LMG42. And also mortar squads who, were really good at countering the weapon teams, which kind of give you a massive headache in the early game. So yeah, this mortar squad, let's keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on its kills and see how much it manages to get. So he's deploying it just here at the back. So do I get to see its range if I click on this? Maybe if I... that's kind of frustrating. There might be a way to find its range. If anybody knows, do leave a comment, let me know. That would be very useful. And they're sort of a near blob, fanning out here. Oh, wow. Did that mortar round just kill like 3 guys? No, it just killed 1. Okay, fair enough. And the Americans choosing to make a push across mid, but was spotted. So the Kubelwagen is in position. A Maxim firing from this building at the back, suppressing my Storm Pioneers, which is quite frustrating because they would have turned aside this assault by themselves if they were just maybe here instead of here. So just in these bushes here rather than up against this fence. But they managed to get unsuppressed, fall back to a good piece of cover, and then they're going to sort of ward the opponents away. The Kubelwagen in a good position, now able to cover this entire arc. So this kind of this run in here, not an option. And the Americans just go for a mass fallback, whilst Punter begins to rain the mortars into this building to flush the Maxim away. And there they go. That should be a fallback from that squad. Unless they're going to go for a conscript reinforce. And I just send 1 squad across just to grab this munitions point. A resource point. It's going to make a big difference at this stage in the game. Allow me to get my Panzerschrecks and my Volks faster. Allow me to get more liberal use of grenades and things, which for Overcommand really is a luxury. In the early game, you've basically got to assume that you can't use any grenades because you just need the Panzerschrecks. And a blob coming out for the Americans here, forcing my advances back. I scout this fuel point, so that's useful to know, and a Zis gun at the back, flumping some rounds in. The Kubelwagen position precariously just out of range. It starts reversing. It is in range of this rifleman squad here, who does have at least 1 bazooka. Can't see another. That Kubelwagen, I think, is too far forwards. Oh wow! And the Zis pushed up, smashes it around into the flank for the takedown. Storm Pioneers forced back, and now we just have a sort of loose fan of Volks Grenadiers.
Heads up! Mechanized mortar carrier is now ready for
who are even being suppressed by this fighting position.
To lay mines, sandbags, and build fighting
so they have to fall back.
We just got promoted.
Punter's mortar here, now up to 5 kills and nearly vet 1. Oh, this could be a good hit. Landing over there, and the Zisp starts using the barrage on the building which I've been holding. This mortar, now dangerously exposed, wants to get out. Needs to bring these assault grenadiers up to support it. Oh wow, and the grenadiers garrisoning this building. There is actually, if we have a look, see there's no window on this side of the building, so they're not actually able to use the LMG42 they have, which would have been brutal against that assault from the American forces. And a Maxim finally making a push into the northern side of the map. And I remember this was puzzling me the entire game, because the southern side of the map has 1 victory point, this one. The northern side has 2, so clearly whoever's holding the north side of the map is going to be winning. And the Allies, in this stage of the game, just committed all their forces to holding the south point, which is fine, but that's kind of a stalemate that Rat Punter and I are happy to maintain. And now a flak truck coming in. The American player has clearly seen these before, just didn't even want to try and trade for a bazooka round. Just says, nope, I'm going to get my infantry out. And you can't really blame him, that flak half-track really does a number on infantry. So I've deployed my, what do you call this building? Mechanized Regiment Headquarters here, just behind the medical building. So the engineers here will be able to repair tanks in sort of this kind of radius, which is going to be useful moving forwards. And you'll notice that I'm playing these buildings quite defensively. And I've brought forward my next half-track here, so I'm probably going to look to deploy the flak gun emplacement somewhere to cover these points. So, for example, here would cover these 2 points really nicely. In fact, here it would cover these 3, so we'll see if I do that. a mortar half-track, so the Americans have chosen the infantry company. They'll have access to the priest in the late game. Whereas Fish Taco has gone for Soviet Shock Army, granting him access to the very potent 120mm mortar, shock troops. He gets the PPSHs on the conscripts, and then in the later stages of the game he'll get the overwhelming indirect fire of the ML20, and a very nice call-in for the IL-2 Sternbeck. Just using a mortar barrage from the half-track here. Don't know what they thought was there, missed that. Maybe they caught a glimpse of one of Punter's units. And then here comes the attack. They're trying to just come down this sort of little runoff here. Flak half-track reverses into position. Now, if that was set up, it would have been firing already. Many not Panzer Strikes, bazookas are going to put a rapid end to this half-track, who's only managed to get one magazine off. While a Ligue, further to the east on the map, causing some suppression and causing a fallback. Was that premature from the Americans? I think so, because they just destroyed the flak half-track, so the only suppression really is coming from this Ligue, and I don't think that would have kept them in place very long. I think they could have pushed and maybe forced a couple of my squads back and tried to make a bit more of a play, maybe made a window for some troops from the south here to run across. And Punter setting up a nice position here in the middle near the river. He'll have to fall back, oh you hope he's going to fall back, that Assault Grenadier squad, but the Mortar squad now up to 1-star vet. Trading mortar rounds, but smoking the fighting position. Very good. Unfortunately, just a little bit too late to make the move stick. And a Puma now providing the flexible anti-tank for my forces. And this position here is kind of the equivalent of my position in this area of the map. But the difficulty for the Allied player is holding this position doesn't win them the game. It's on them to make a move right now. And they've tried a couple of times. Been repulsed. There's Punter here setting up a little bunker network. So he's got an MG42, the medic bunker for healing, and I wonder if he'll build one of the reinforcement bunkers, the command bunker as they're called. I think it's the command bunker upgrade. And that'll give him almost the equivalent of a forward HQ here. Punter also supporting the team by building us a fuel cache, something which I can't do, but I'm very appreciative of. And an Ostwind. The choice of armour here for Punter. One of his favourite units, we see it very often in games from him. And with pretty good reason. That's a good unit, he's good at microing it. Here we have another blob of Aegis, now facing down against two Ligues. And Punter supporting me here at the north by bringing up a squad of Pioneers who are beginning to lay down bunkers, and they'll be upgraded with MG42s to provide some much needed suppression to counter the Allied infantry rushes. And a Suchka here, coming up for Fish Taco. A very powerful unit at the moment. The cannon now as powerful against tanks as the Su-85, but it also has the HE shell and barrage ability, making it a flexible choice against infantry. The Zis gun pushed into a very potent position here, able to cover to the south or the north of the river, covering a large open area, and making this Ostwind have to think twice before engaging. A Maxim from this building, also suppressing the assault grenadiers, is going to make this a very hard position to attack, and the 50 calibrated fighting position too. So, if I was Punter right now, I would think about investing in possibly a second mortar squad, because with two mortars you can just wipe away all of this stuff. And the Americans still pushing at the north, and I'm going for a counterpoke here. Hunting down the Suchka as best I can with the Puma, which is going to be forced to fall back in the face of a horrendously large infantry blob. Let's hope I don't forget about the infantry that was supporting it. Oh dear, these Volks Grenadiers are in a terrible spot. They get one last Shrek round into the Suchka, and there's the fallback, but they're stuck in the deep snow and horrendously wounded. Oh! And that is a lucky escape. Now have the Americans got a foothold on this side of the river? Almost. Their squads are quite vetted, mostly 2-star, few 1-star on the frontline combat units. The bunker network now being upgraded with MG42s and a secondary bunker being established to the north here. Uh-oh, one of my light guns here is caught out. There's a large blob of American forces here, but the Flak HQ beginning to thunk rounds in, the suppression adding up from the Ligue, the Flak HQ, the MG42, and that's going to have to force the Americans back. And now, does the American Flak half-track, does that unit have the smoke barrage ability? White phosphorus barrage?
Someone get us out of here!
Wow. Well, that'll count for smoke. So you think? I think if he put down a white phosphorus barrage in this location, that would have blocked the line of sight on the bunker. It would have blocked the line of sight on the flak half track. It probably would have made me have to give to a gas barrage with the lights, and that might have allowed him to push up through here and come around. And that would have been a much more threatening attack. And yet more bunkers popping up here from Punter, being a bit of a legend here with the entrenchment.
It's done.
Content in the south to just sit tight. So let's take a little look and think what he could have achieved maybe. So he's got one mortar squad, he's got grenadiers, 2 assaults, and an Ostwind who really wants some repairs. Now let's have a look at the resistance. A squad of conscripts behind some barricades, 2 squads, and a Maxim way down south, but not in any position really to command the command point. So this could have been an assault for Punter. Not that he knows that, of course. If we turn on the fog of war, I mean, he has no idea what's out there. And this is when a doctrine which gives him the recon plane might have been, could have provided some edge, or maybe just bringing in a sniper to plink away at their units. That's the kind of thing which lets you make moves and know when to make them. A scout car also could have been pretty cool. Oof. Mass barrages coming in from a double Suchka squad, and a mortar scoring a lovely hit on one of them, clipping in for some damage. That mortar squad actually just outside the barrage area. And all 3 out of the 4 players now committed to having chosen a commander. Myself, I always tend to wait until I actually need one of my units or one of my abilities, and that hasn't happened. And I remember I was looking at this map and thinking, you know, based on its size and the way it's got these chokes, this is actually not a bad map for a Storm Tiger. So if I can, I want to hold on until the 12, I think it is, command points that you need to call that unit in. And it could be very dominating. I've had some, since the changes, which have increased the damage, the splash, its effect on vehicles, I've had some good success with that unit. I mean, it's still not awesome. You still have to reload it for a minute or so, or just over between shots. But it can be potent if you get it into a cluster of enemy armor or infantry, of course. And it's this kind of game where you can just poke it through here, bring it to here, take a shot here, get back out, reload, exchange for a couple of squads every time, and it starts looking really good. Anyway, pressure being applied on the north-hand side of the map by the Allies, and the suppression from the bunkers and the double Lig, who are still firing strong, one here, one of them now up to 1-star vet and supporting Punter down to the south. There's a conscript run-by coming in. A lot of Punter's bunker network being taken out from the indirect fire from the Suchkas. And indeed the direct fire, because why not? Forcing back the mortar squad. And a bit of a rout here in the south as a Stug comes forward to challenge the Suchkas. Well, the American infantry again forced back. And he really needs a plan to deal with the amount of suppression in the positions that I have here. Ooh, a squad of Obersoldaten arriving and picking up a BAR almost as soon as they arrive. The Stug, not long for this world, hunted by the power of the Suchkas, with an anti-tank grenade thrown in for value by these conscripts, who are getting absolutely massacred by the LMG-42, and targeting the fuel depot. And I think what I should have done is sent this Puma a lot earlier, but I think I was just engaged. My attention was taken up north, because this Puma really wasn't helping against the American advance, and it could have just been plinking these Suchkas, and here he comes, he's like, hey, I'm a Puma. And I'm fighting you at way too close of range. There was an opportunity to hunt him, but the Suchka matches his range, and that's not a fight where the Puma really wants to be trading. That could go wrong in a hurry. And I always try to preserve my units. I always play on the side of caution, unless there's no other option. So that Puma's going to try and waddle on back. And let's take a look at my fuel. So I'm up to 152 fuel, so almost certainly saving for a Panther here. The Panzer IV has been an option for some time, which I've not gone for, and I don't feel particularly pressured. I mean, yeah, these infantry blobs keep coming, but I'm able to turn them aside with my suppression and unit placement. And another American blob comes in. American players, perhaps you can tell me, is this really the most effective way to use your infantry? Because I swear, if you just fan them out and come from like 2 different approaches, so like get 1 or 2 units to come through here, get 1 unit to run around here, get 1 unit to split off and come around here. I see American players doing this all the time. So I wonder if this really is like the de facto thing that works best for American players. I mean, I don't really play US very often, but it just seems far too easy for me to counter with lights. I mean, look, they can't make a move, and here comes a call in from Punter, which is going to be the light artillery and force a mass fallback. Just in the nick of time. That is a cooldown which comes in pretty quick. So yeah, perhaps any US players out there with a decent amount of experience, could you fill me in on how the US is supposed to look when they get to this stage in the game? I mean, is it really just a blob attack? There's got to be other options, right? As the Suchkas using their indirect fire, just trying to pick off some of my units, but I'm usually quite crafty at repositioning them. Ooh, and a Puma just kind of coming in and being cheeky. Taking around from a Zis gun, which is real bad, so he wants to get out. I think I was just trying to get the fuel depot, which I managed to with the Ligs, using the barrage ability. One Lig now up to 2-star, 16 kills, the other one up to 1-star with 12 kills, so doing work. Let's check the forces of Punter. The Mortar Squad still at 5 kills, but nearly 2-star vet now, so he's been trading rounds with vehicles and buildings. Maybe this fighting position. This is still a really good barrage target, and I still think that Punter would do well. Floating 800 manpower, I think he'd do really well to get another Mortar Squad. Just add to the indirect pressure that he has at his disposal. Because that's what he needs, just to push out these like really weedy emplacements from the Russians that have been here forever. Oh, and an Ura used to save these conscripts from a cooldown. Cooldown of light artillery barrage. How much does this ability cost? 120, so it's not that cheap. Same as a Stuka bomb. I think. Or is the Stuka bomb 160? Nah, I think it's 120. Anyway. And the American blob of ages, let's see what happens this time. The Obersoldat and well set up in the building. We'll watch their kill count for the battle if I can. Up to 2 now as their veterancy begins trickling in. Oh, that building's so weak, need to get them out, and I do. Obviously if the building dies, and it just did, that would have been the end of the squad. Grabbing a medkit as I pull them back. The Storm Pioneers, the deploy medical bag ability, very useful for keeping your infantry in fights and in the game longer than they should be. Those Storm Pioneers probably wanting to pull back now as the Panther finally arrives. Just in the nick of time as the majority of my squad's low on men and falling back, healing, reinforcing back at my medical tent. The bunkers from Punter providing the only thing keeping this attack at bay, and the Panther forced to trade against these bazookas. It's going to be taking damage. And is that the Zis gun at the back? No, it's the Suchkas. So, and is that a Jackson? Nah, this Jackson wants to push, and it knows it. And the Panther thinks enough is enough. Down to about 40% HP and has to retreat. And conservative play from the American there. He doesn't want to chase with the Jackson into fog of war against a Panther that's just lurking. And he knows that there's still a Puma out there somewhere, so wise moves, wise moves. So the Allies temporarily managing to decap one of the command points and stop the hemorrhaging of victory points, which has been going on all game, but not for long as the Obersoldaten are able to reclaim it. And here in the south, more or less a stalemate. Like, for example, this Stug with a scout car to provide it light of sight, if it was to position here, it would just be utterly commanding. In fact, you know what? This command point is open for the grabbing. Unless I'm much mistaken. I mean, yeah, there are some supporting forces nearby, but Punter has an MG42 at his disposal. Let's see where it is. Oh, so it's helping me. Well, you've got to say that's fair enough, because possibly without that, I mean, fighting up here has been tense, and there are a couple of times where the Allies could have, you know, they came very close to turning it, and most of my squads had fallen back with reinforcing healing, so. But with another MG42 and a mortar, and I would say a pack gun positioned here, because that would provide coverage of like this whole area and up here. That flank could really be pushed. And the Ligs at the back, hurling shells forward as the Obersoldaten take shots, getting their first rank of veterancy up to 5 kills. Not as much as you'd expect out of them, seeing as how much combat they've seen. And my Volk squad's forced back as the Suchkas come in. They want blood. The Panther is healed and is in position. Acquires the target. He really needs to turn. There we go, bringing his frontal armour to bear. And the Puma doing a kind of little jig on the spot there, just coming in to add its AT to the fight. It really wants to hound down these Suchkas, and this is a risky move. He gets one of them. Pushing with the Puma and the Panther now, hunting this second Suchka, as the infantry from the Americans has to fall back. And is going to get out a motor carriage, providing a nasty amount of indirect fire. Let's check my infantry squads. Did I lose any? No, but I did take a lot of losses to my Volks. I mean, that's kind of their lot in life. They're a great squad, but one thing they really do best is kind of provide like ablative armor for the rest of your army, and it's like quite vicious ablative armor. The kind of ablative armor which which has Panzerschrecks. So the Ostwind and the Stug just stacked up here to the south, and these investments, what are they doing? They're holding ground, which is fine, but they're not really doing damage. So I always think of the units in my army as investments, and I try to get them to pay for themselves in the best way possible, and by pay for themselves I mean like inflict damage on your opponents. So I think it would have just been worth a poke down here just to see what's going on. But I do appreciate that our strategy at the moment is to just hold the 2 VPs in the north side of the map, and a lot of Punter's units and attention are focused up here, including his mortar squad, which is now nearly 3-star vet, like 2.5 stars. Only 8 kills, so it must have been hitting a lot of vehicles. Repairs going down. Is that a priest I hear? Oh no, it's not a priest, it's the ML20 mortar, which is flumping my flak HQ, and I'm desperately trying to repair it with the Pioneers, who I've now bought the repair tool upgrade. And that's Jackson in an awkward position. Oh, I don't know if the Ostwind wants to try and catch the Jackson. Oh, and the Stug coming into the flank gets a winging blow. Oh, damage on the Jackson though. Now, can the Ostwind actually penetrate the Jackson's frontal armour? No appears to be the answer. And the Stug gonna retreat. A grenade getting into this building as the Russian player pushing the south, and the building comes down on top of the Grenadiers. So unlucky there for Punter. Now is he going to be able to get the squad wipe on the stormtroopers as a sort of on the shock troopers? Sorry, as a vengeance. Oh, they get out! Just oh my god. Meanwhile, on the left-hand flank, an American priest is hunted down and chased into the base by a Panther, who suffers an engine damage on the way out, but should be able to get out. And this Suchka, which really wants to hunt the Panther, is gonna dodge a Werferman barrage, which is brutal in every other way. The Werferman casting a nice line across the American forces, but the infantry left unscathed, and they make a push in mid. They want the Panther. They know the engine's damaged. It can't get out quickly, but they have to deal with the Obersoldaten, who are acid death to infantry. They just burn them down. And a fallback coming in. I think that was a premature fallback. I think they could have pushed a bit longer. I mean, yeah, there's 2 lights worth of fire coming into them. Oh, and the Puma is left out in the open, trading with a Zis gun. Am I going to notice? This needs to be stopped. And the Panther flailing around, trying to get out. Oh, the Puma does get out. My Volksgrenadier squad's now fully reinforced. These guys need to come back off the line. Come on, Magpie. Come on, pay attention. Come on. Move them out. As Punter finally making a move in the southern corner of the map, but forced back by what appears to be a Zis gun. And this makes life a lot harder. And a Jackson coming in for the Ostwind, and that's got to be curtains for the Ostwind. Dunk. And the Jackson free to wander out.
Lips froze to the tube.
So both teams circling one another now, trying to make the next push. The Americans come across. I don't understand why they keep stopping for this point. They should leave 1 squad most and just push forwards, because now we know that they've sent everything to this point. Okay, there we go. So now they do push on, but not particularly efficiently. Oh, where are the Obersoldaten? Where are the light guns? I believe I had to move the light guns back because they were damaged. The Panther is repaired. And the Werferman, is it recharged? Yeah, there's a barrage waiting on that Werferman, so we'll wait and see if it's used here. Could be a good opportunity. Oh my god, the Ligs just causing massive losses, and some rockets flailing in. Is that a Katushka? That is a Katushka firing from here, but the Ostwind coming in from the north. The Lurker Ostwind hunts it down. Punter claiming an epic kill there. A fantastic fuel swing. And a lot of my army still back at base. Luckily though, this Ostwind has things on lockdown. Come on, get a squad wipe. Oh. There was that 1 shell there, which if it just hit that guy would have been tasty. But you can't always get what you want. I hear if you try real hard though, sometimes you can get what you need. It's a bit of a skirmish in the middle, and a T-34. Is that the 85? No, 76. Of course, because he didn't choose that commander. So a regular T-34, just getting plinked by a Puma, who's all getting plinked by a Suchka, and that has to be a dead Puma, surely. Ugh, he popped smoke, but the smoke is not good enough. flailing out of control. He goes down. The Panther hunting this Jackson in the north corner of the map. He just needs the one more shot. Just needs one more shot here. Ah, the Panzer Shrek coming out from here. Oh, and a 5-star squad getting massacred to the last man by a flyby from an IL-2. That guy is going to fall back and survive. And let's just check the forces of Punter here. Did his Osman survive that battle? No, but I think trading off for a Katushka and then whatever happened in the rest of the fight, I mean, I'm sure it got a couple more infantry or something. It's worth it. I can't remember how much a Katushka costs, actually. Let's have a peek. Here it is. So a Katushka costs... Oh, only 85 fuel. Jeez, how good. Wow. Still, I'd trade an Osman for a Katushka in this stage of the game. And I'm just kind of making use of what cover I've got. Are both of my Ligs still firing? No, one of the Ligs has been taken out, possibly by that Katushka. And the Werferman is taking aim. I just saw those tubes twitch. And there are the shots. And you've got to think it's going to land here. So, a less effective barrage. I mean, the first time I fired that thing, it actually managed to... Oh, there's a grenade on the squad! Get out of there! Oh, dearie. Dearie me, the cooked hand grenades from the shock troops. You just never want them to even use that ability. It's just the amount of 4-man squads I've seen killed by that ability over my time playing this game. Too many. But anyway, yeah, the first barrage from the Werferman managed to get it 1-star veterancy. The second one basically doing nearly nothing. There's 2 Suchkas and a T-34 coming in to challenge the Panther, and he wants to get out, but the double stud coming in for backup. Punter in the right place at the right time and able to turn the most critical fight on the map at the time, and probably of this phase of the game. And what's this in his flank? Is that a Ziska? No, it's a mortar carriage trying to do some damage on the studs. Let's see if it can. Yes, it can. Yeah, the gun carriage, a really good unit. I think sort of a quietly good unit.
Send your mission.
But so devastating against Axis infantry in the late game. And another T-34 here. I wonder how this game would have looked if Fish Taco had gone for an Su-85 instead of these 2 Sichkas and the T-34s. Or 3 Sichkas I think he's built now, maybe more. An Su-85 with its focused vision could have just quite happily sat here and made it basically impossible for me to bring my armour past here unless I want to try and rush it and take it down. And that's a dangerous proposition when you've got that many American squads with bazookas on the loose and that many conscripts with AT grenades. So anyway, finally the Allies making some foothold in the north side of the map and controlling 2 of the 3 victory points, bringing us down to 484. So they're at 101 under 484 at the moment. It's not great, but for the first time they are actually chalking our score down. So I'm doing everything I can to prevent that, bringing in a squad of Volks just to try and decap this point. Another infantry wave moving in, both teams moving into position, the Ligs suppressing. Again, always slowing the advance of the Allies. The Liga unit I've learned to use in pairs against Allied teams on maps like this, in circumstances like this, for massive effect. And this T-34, I think the Allies thought that they could just break that, but actually by keeping my guys still and just having everyone shooting, I was able to whittle down the infantry and the armour, and this Panther rushing the Ziska, and he just says, I don't care. I mean, once they get to 2-star vet, their armour becomes so good. Let's see if this next round bounces, and it does. I mean, Panthers, once they get to 2-star vet, are really tricky to take out from the front. A hand grenade from the Volks just sealing the deal, and now the Panther almost certain to chase the T-34, and he does. Moving forward as a call-in comes down on my infantry, and I do see that and manage to fall it back. And a rout falling across the bridge in the north-hand side. North isn't a hand side, is it? The north side of the map. I don't have a north hand. Maybe I do. Maybe that's why I'm just, got these epic micro skills. It's that extra north hand. I got a right, left, and a north hand. It's pretty good, man. The girls love it too. And in the south, a triple wall of studs. And let's see what the opposition is here. So that pesky Zis gun. Ah, it is still in position down here. Oh, that's just a bother. That's just a bother. This position here for Fish Taco basically gone unopposed. They're like, no, this is my point. It's a fuel point. It's pretty valuable. This is mine. And while we're here, don't take the command point. I mean, fair enough. The Panther getting repaired. Looks like I've bought a second squad of Storm Pioneers. And I'm now at 29 command points. The highest in the game. Now, I don't have the unit cap for a Storm Tiger, but I nearly have, I nearly have the resources. And the Werferman being repaired by the vehicle repair station here.
Crew, stand ready.
Now this is a Werferman target. I mean, sadly the Werferman's not in position, but damn, you know. Not that I know that, of course, these guys are all swallowed in fog of war. Otherwise the Panther probably wouldn't just be sitting here. And this is me force firing the Zis gun, because if a squad came across here and just remanned that Zis gun, that would be really, really disappointing. Oh, but I don't finish it off. Oh, well, that's still an option for the Allies then. As they push down the south side of the river, right against the bank. Some very veteran squads now, look, mostly 2 and 3 star. Ooh, you don't want to reverse that T-34 in there. And the Stug is going to try and do what it can as an Ura comes down and they sprint. And they've decided that they're fed up of smashing their faces against the brick wall that has become the north-hand side of the map. Hand side, not the north of the map. As the T-34 comes for a flank, but with this many Stugs, it's still going to be covered. Trying to focus fire on this Stug, but it's just not going to be enough. Oh, and an abandoned T-34, that's savage. That is actually savage, and a Werferman barrage. Going to be the straw that breaks the Allies' back on this one. A worthy attempt, but ultimately the power of the Stug with supporting infantry and a barrage, too much. Now, what I'd really like to see come out from the Allies would be a half-track. If the Russians could build a half-track... oh, they don't have that tech building. Well, I still think a half-track would be really good, because it would allow these pushes not to just be an all-in mass fallback, out, in, out, in. It would allow them to just kind of cycle back force troops once they've lost 1 or 2 men. As Punter grabs this T-34, good lad. It would allow them to cycle their troops and keep a sort of, like, keep the pressure on for a more extended push. And that's what they need, because they keep nearly taking the ground, and they force all my squads back, and Punter squads, and then we're having to heal and repair them, heal and reinforce. And if they had a half-track, especially if that half-track had the quad 50 mount, it would just provide a really nice backfield unit for them. Now, I don't really know much about the meta in this game at the moment, but maybe half-tracks are just not cool anymore, I don't know. But I always use half-tracks, even when I play as Wehrmacht. Love them. Love them. So the game now winding into the closing moments. We're at 37 minutes in. The Allies are down to 43 tickets, and it's been a slow bleed for them. Pretty much a 2-1 victory point bleed the entire game. But you know what? Winning's winning, and whether you win slow or fast. And the Oversword Art now up to 3-star. Let's see. Oh, the Werferman firing. Where is it firing? Oh, there it is. Crippling damage being done to these infantry squads as the Werferman now up to nearly 3-star veterancy. Man, I love that unit. So you'll have noticed. Oh, Punter with the BM. Oh, I'm not sure I can approve of that. It's all in the name of good sport. All in the name of good sport. And finally, that Zis gun being taken out by the Panther. Oh God. And they say, "Excuse Punter, he's a git," and then apologising for camps. So a little bit of banter. Well, I don't know if you can call it banter when it's one-sided. But anyway. I mean, barring a last-minute land grab and getting onto the command points and not losing them, things are looking pretty dire for the Allies. Oh, a rear armour hit as a Jackson flanking across, but the Panther using combat blitz backing up, say, hey, now you're in my frontal armour arc. The hunter becomes the hunted. Oh, and an engine damage, making this a risky proposition for pursuit. Is he going to get the one shell into that Jackson? No, he's going to have to get out. Panther in jeopardy here. Oh, a T-34 though, just not enough to push. As Punter goes for a dive, taking out base defences. He wants the priests, and there's an AT gun in his flank, which becomes the subject of a vast amount of fire. Meanwhile, this T-34 just being hunted down by Volks. That'll be going down. And, oh, I think at that moment, of course, yes, there was a surrender there from the Allies, which seems fair enough given the circumstances. So, another victory for Punter and myself there. Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the cast, if you have any feedback, I'd really appreciate it. If you have any ideas for future casts, and indeed, if you have any of your own games, do let me know. magpie842replays@gmail.com is the email address for those. And, yeah. I guess that's about it. Thanks very much for watching. This is Magpie, signing out.